I want to welcome you all officially to HashiConf 2019 here. What's the kind of ethos for us? What do we sort of focus on and believe in? And I think for us, I can kind of boil it down to one common sort of view, which is our worldview is that everything is going multi, right? So our goal when we talk about Consul is really talking about solving the service networking challenge, right? And so these are kind of the key challenges. And so within that realm, there's sort of two key ways to think about Consul. One is as a traditional service registry and discovery mechanism, and one is as a service mesh. Goals for Consul are sort of threefold. One is to be API driven, right? We want this to be pluggable with your deployment process, your CI/CD process, the way your network should be automated, right? But we also want to acknowledge that the world is going to be multi-platform and multi-cloud. Very unlikely that you'll ever be able to standardize on one technology that's forever future-proof, right? And the other side of this is really thinking about what's the orientation of the network, right? I think if you ask some vendors, the network is the center of the universe and everything else revolves around that. Our view is the opposite, right? The application is the center of the universe. Everything else revolves around the application, right? So how do we get the network really to be, in some sense, a detail? What we want to do is manage the high-level intentions of, great, the traffic should be allowed, or we should do a failover between data centers. And then the network should just be automated to support that. So as apps come and go, get scaled up and down, that becomes sort of a detail that gets automated away. It's not the primary focus, right? And so with that, I'd like to introduce Mitchell Hashimoto, co-founder, to the stage to talk more about the Consul updates we have for you.
We've built, and I'm excited to announce, a feature called Mesh Gateways into Consul. In one sentence, Mesh Gateways are a feature that enables secure service-to-service communication built on top of Connect that enables us across networks, maintaining complete end-to-end encryption that also works everywhere. And it's all automatic. So let's go back to this challenge that I posed earlier, this simplified example where you just have two different networks. The way this would work in a mesh gateway world is like this. So you would deploy a mesh gateway device, just software, onto the borders of your networks. These could be VMs, they could be containers, they could be anything. The only requirement is that these deployments could talk to both the private network as well as the external network. And once you deploy them, Consul sees that and automatically routes traffic through the gateways across to the different networks. By having these gateways be limited, you could set up direct firewall rules so that one gateway could only talk to another gateway, so you don't have traffic free-flowing on the public internet or going anywhere. You could lock this down so that only your regions and your edge devices could talk to each other, and that enables all of your services within each region or data center or platform to be able to communicate. For every single region or network that you have, whether it's 3 up to N that you have, you run a gateway device on the edge of each network, and now you have complete connectivity across every region globally. The magic of this is that it really just makes it seem flat, right? Your service, from a developer's perspective, when it wants to talk to a database, they don't need to worry about where that is, how to get there, anything. You just say the same thing, database.service.consul. You connect to it, and Consul handles the complexity of getting that routing to the right place, maintaining security throughout, et cetera. Our goal was not just to make this work, but to make this work easily, magically, automatically. And mesh gateways are an open source feature, and they're available in Consul 1.6, which has been released for beta today. So continuing to build upon Connect, I'm excited to announce that Consul has completed the much-awaited Layer 7 features completely. We've introduced a number of new features. So with the new Layer 7 functionality, service discovery can now look like this. I should mention that each box that I introduced in the middle is totally optional. You could have one and not the other. You could have 2 but not 3. But if you wanted to do the full path, this is what it would look like. Finally, for Consul, I want to talk about Consul and Kubernetes. The goal with Consul is to unify everything. This is the works everywhere point that we make in all our sort of descriptions of our features. Consul works with Kubernetes, it works with cloud, it works with VMs, it's multi-data center, multi-cloud, et cetera. And importantly, it exposes these features in a consistent way across all these different environments. But of course, we don't just want to say it theoretically works, right? It's just a binary, you could run it anywhere. It's important to integrate with those ecosystems in order to make it feel natural. So what we've done with Consul is, for the past year, we've had a project called Consul Kubernetes that provides first-class native integrations with Kubernetes to enable many of these features of Consul to work in a consistent way. And I mentioned this earlier, but a really important use case for this is multiple Kubernetes clusters. So even if you're pure Kubernetes, you could set up mesh gateways now and have your pods be able to route with full service HTTP routing, traffic splitting, custom resolution, automatic TLS, authorization, all included across Kubernetes clusters, even if the two pods have an identical IP address, right? You could have the same overlay on both sides, and this still works. And so this is a really, really sort of magical and important feature to enable, again, sort of making the world seem flat and making your services just be able to connect to each other. So we've been discussing the challenges of service networking, and I'd like to continue that with a few features that we have for Nomad as well. The first feature is that we're introducing network namespace support into Nomad. Network namespaces enable us to have an isolated network for every task group within Nomad. This enables a much better way to deploy applications in a secure fashion, and it also enables us to build features such as native Connect integration. And so with the next release of Nomad, we also now have native Connect integration. Other features that are not networking related that we're really excited for in Nomad are host volumes and a new file explorer in the UI. All of these features, from network namespaces, the native Connect integration, host volumes, and the new file explorer UI, are open source and available in Nomad 0.10, which will be coming soon.